Howdy, y'all. This is AR Cavally. Welcome back to my channel in what will actually be the final episode of Shank's career, probably at least of this campaign. Uh, when we left, which for me was actually just a couple hours ago, um, the they had destroyed the creature as far as uh, shooting it to where it wasn't moving around, and then had to fight the reprogrammed or secretly programmed Herald 4 law enforcement slash assassin android. So they had to shoot out, and Justin and the android shot each other. Justin doesn't remember anything after that. He got, of course, because they're android as always rolls really well when Shank is getting shot, and he blew off the android's arm, got some rounds in its chest, and we saw how tough the androids can be since they don't just use straight hit points, and they can take a lot of damage. But he also simultaneously was gunned down, and he remembers nothing else until he wakes up to the soft lighting above him, the sound of some unidentified medical equipment softly beeping nearby. He opens, he looks around, and his head is killing him, and he closes his eyes and goes back to sleep for some indeterminate amount of time before his eyes open up again. Some sensor must have gone off. A nurse and a doctor come in and immediately start checking his vitals, examining him, doing the whole pupil pupil test and all those things that medical people do for patients who have been shot by rogue androids after fighting off ancient alien monstrosities or whatever. But he got pounded pretty well. I'm going to use that little just as a reference. Actually, let's see. Wonder if I should. I've got aliens. Um, no, I'm just going to use the. We're wrapping it up. I'm just going to use the injury and recovery thing just to kind of see what happened. F4. All right, so his arm. Let's see, the higher the worse for him. Oh man, jeez. His arm was blown off. Apparently, he and the android blew each other's arms off. Let's see, odd, it's his right arm. Okay, so he was permanently maimed. His arm, from the bullets that shattered the wounds that probably sent him into shock. The other one of the rounds actually kind of put him out, clubbed him in the head, and he has a plate in his head now because the damage to his cranium was so bad. Now there were other people who were down to like one or two, but he is maimed. His arm is gone. As he wakes up, it's throbbing, and he looks over, and all he sees is the stump. And he's in too much shock, so he doesn't freak out. Everything is still, whether it's the shock or the drugs, as Deputy Chief Justin Shank has somewhere in his distant mind that his arm is gone. And he vaguely remembers that it was that android. Vaguely, he shot, or was it the monster? He doesn't know. He spends several days kind of going in and out as doctors come and they treat him, change his medications. And of course, one of the first questions he asks, "Where am I?" One of the nurses looks at him, a pretty olive skinned nurse looks at him and says, You're at Tau Ceti High Station. You were evac'd up here on a emergency plane. Fortunately, we have a lot of trauma experts here on our sad little planet. Which probably is fortunate because he got shot up pretty bad. Um, and he's there. He's not really. He doesn't have one of the local marshal liaison checks in with him every now and then, makes lets him know that he is still on duty, and he's still, or he's not on duty, but he's on medical leave, and that his insurance and benefits and all that stuff is fine. But he's kind of sitting there recovering for about 2 weeks before he really sees anybody. He does get visitors. He got visitors from the Army liaison people that he had convinced to do the mission in the first place. They verified that it was him. Let's see, 5 or 6 hijinks. Okay. He is told, at least, that the biological sample has been secured by the CAS government and is being looked at by top people and is in quarantine. And yes, indeed, the strange life form was put down. He's told about the casualties because he doesn't even really remember. But he gets to see some of the video clips. Some of the, people from the Army come by and explain and what happened and who survived, and that it was pretty bloody. But they were able to finally move after they got everything secured and made sure that Herald 4 was completely deactivated. They were able to get picked up and returned to base, and most of the team are down at the main colony, Lindbergh, on medical hold, medical evaluation. Some of them will be going home with Purple Hearts. So, but after about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, Dana, his chief, shows up, and she walks in, and man, you look like shit, Justin. Well, I kind of feel like shit. Did you see this? Did you see your android shot off my arm and put a bullet in my skull? Your android, I know. Look, it wasn't my android. It came from high up. High up. You know exactly who it was. It was that crazy billionaire bitch Renee, alien loving hoe bag. She did something. She pulled her connections. She don't talk about what happened with the android. It is classified. It's been classified. It's being investigated, and I know it's being looked at by top people, right? Yeah. Could I have one of those? Look, are you sure it's been a long time? Give me a fucking cigarette. Yeah. So she takes out a cigarette, lights it for him, hands it to him, and he, with his one good arm, oh, I needed that. So now what? Look, I'll be honest. I say you retire. You're being offered 100% medical benefits and free transport to any place off Earth. I'd take it, honey. You do not want to go back to New York. You do not want to go back to any core world. Take your retirement. It includes medical. You'll get a top grade A class prosthetic. What about some of those retrogenics? I don't know. I don't know if they'll cover that. And I'll be honest, I don't know that you would really want some weird DNA graft. That stuff's just take the arm, okay? They look almost human with the coverings, and it is covered. And just take it, Justin, please. Yeah, that's probably best. He takes his own long drag. I don't think we're really supposed to be smoking in here. Well, you weren't supposed to have your arm shot off by a robot, so I'll take that. So you know it was her. What, do you think she's going to come after me if I go live off in a hermitage somewhere in the Falmouth zone? No, my office will take care of her. Don't you worry. She will leave you alone. She'll have bigger fish to fry. Have you read it? Do you know what happened? Do you know what Harold did? Yes, I do know. Don't say anything else. Never, ever say anything else, Justin. All right? If you say anything, if you give any interviews or write any books or do any interstellar blog posts, they're going to come right after you. All right, just go away quietly. Promise me, please, honey, that you'll do that. Now, of course, Justin he's not used to her. He's used to her showing genuine concern for his well-being, but never so intimately. And it really shakes him to the core. He realizes that he is completely at the mercy of powerful forces that he has no control over. Yeah. It's been a good run. And you've been a pretty good boss, Dana, despite being a bitch. Do you have my retirement package? I've got it right here. Once you open this, once you start, don't go back. Don't turn back. All right? If there's anything really, really, really important, any memento on Earth, tell me what it is. I looked in your apartment and it's just, it's amazing that an adult lives there. But just don't. There's nothing on Earth that you need. Hey, Dana. Thanks for everything. And hey, tell Rizzo that I guess he was the wise one. He was right. He was the smart one. What? She looks away. She is one of her traits is that she does not look at people in the eyes, but she's been when she can avoid it. But she's been looking at Shank in the eyes this whole time. But now she looks away. What happened? His he was on a public spinner and it crashed due to a malfunction of unknown determination. He held on in the ICU for 2 days, but his burns and injuries were too bad. I'm sorry, Rizzo didn't make it. And that's why you never need to come back. Damn. All right. All right, help me fill out the package. I'm short a limb. And so they spend the next hour filling out the package. She presents him actually with a couple of awards that is nothing that he can, service awards, nothing that he can really, show off at parties if he's going to keep a low profile. But it does help with his retirement points and his final retirement pay. After they're done, he signs the final paper, left-handed, all jaggedy and facing the wrong direction. Doesn't even look like his, but she initials it to show that it is actually his. She stamps it. She gives him a civilian ID card with a year's worth of pay on it, of retirement pay on it, plus his bonus. You probably were one of the best agents I've ever worked with, Justin. I'm going to miss you. And then she gives him a peck on the forehead, and she leaves. He never sees her again. He arranges, within a week, he doesn't even return home. He looks for a colony world out on the outer edge that has decent medical care and a place where he can actually use his benefits, because he's not looking to live like a lumberjack or a survivalist. And that is how Deputy Chief Justin L. Shank left the service and retired into the black of space. So that's the end. This was I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun making this one. Again, I love, as I've said multiple times, I love the hostile setting, and I love the the rule set and everything about it. And I had a lot of fun with that. I enjoy creating the even if my voices aren't good, I love doing the voices, and I love making the stories and watching how things threads come together. It's great. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show, the series, and happy gaming. But if you want to stay around after the credits, we pan back to the office in New York, and we see Chief Dana Jones at her desk, taking one final long drag from a cigarette before snuffing it out in a tray and putting her personal heavy revolver into her holster, rolling her head, and then with conviction, with purpose, stomping through the headquarters up to the ceiling and loading into a flyer. She takes a flyer over to the industrial building of Renee Pegram, the head of the Tanique movement. She has made an appointment with her saying they need to finish one last bit. Renee, who is obviously very tired of dealing with the paperwork, with the involvement, she just wants it to go away, agreed to meet Chief Chief Dana Jones. Dana lands her flitter, lands her car on the same platform that so many sessions ago, the Marines, the rebel Marines, had got into a gunfight with the security forces there. She is led up to an office, an elegant but simple office, and Renee Pegram is sitting behind in her usual dress that is slinky and sexy while still maintaining a modicum of stylish professionalism. And she puts her hands on the desk and motions for the chief to take a seat. The chief does take a seat. Miss Pegram, you know we're going to figure out what happened to that android, right? Renee smiles, and I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, I think you do. And I think that your corruption goes all the way to the top. And I'll be honest, I don't think that any one of us are safe as long as you're alive. Well, that's somewhat direct, Renee says, with a elitist chuckle. And the chief nods, lights up a cigarette. I wish you wouldn't do that in here, please. Then she blows a big cloud of smoke into eccentric billionaire Renee Pegram's face. She says, well, I wish that you wouldn't have ruined all the lives of my top agents. And with that, she pulls out the revolver, puts it up against Renee's forehead, pulls the hammer back with a loud click. And then right before she pulls the trigger, Renee's eyes turn red, and Dana Jones hesitates just for a second before the screen fades to black. So, there you go. I just had that little scene kind of form, kind of the aftermath, the after credit scene. But I really didn't feel the need to resolve it, what happened, but I hope you enjoyed it. And now, for sure, happy gaming and be well all.